Choosing therapy was one of the most confident decisions that I've ever made because it said I'm worth it. I don't have to do this alone. And it said I'm allowed to heal before I decide to move forward. Healing and therapy has been a big part of this process for me, and I wanted to share some ways that I found the right therapist, some techniques, some tips that I learned, and how it all goes together. And how I also believe you can heal before you fully decide to move through and move forward.
This is me becoming her. This is me becoming her. Yeah, unapologetic.
Welcome back to Becoming Her, episode 4. Y'all, cheers to us, whatever's in your cup. Today we doing tea, okay? And some antique china. Isn't this cute? Okay, today we're talking about healing because that's a part of the glow up and the becoming too. Let's talk. Get your notebook, whatever's in your cup. You know how I am. We don't judge. But today we're drinking tea. Get your notebook. So I felt like I just really wanted to share with y'all about my journey in therapy and why so many people kind of look at me going through this whole journey experience of becoming, and they're like, Elisa, are you really okay? And I'm like, I really believe that I was given the tools when I decided to take therapy and my faith seriously, and I truly feel at peace and feel settled. So I wanted to talk to y'all about how sometimes I feel like people don't discuss the healing and the therapy in these glow up seasons, right? It kind of gets skated over. Like it's like you assume you're worried about that or focused on that, but people don't talk about it because I feel like a lot of the glow up is the appearance, the look. Okay, so we got to talk about that. So a lot of times when we're talking about becoming and glowing up, we talk about improving habits, right? We talk about improving appearance, haircuts, new clothes, working out. We always talk about working out, loses weight. I get it. We talk about decor, redecorating, which is a part of the becoming and the improving and the growth. But are we really talking about the internal becoming, the internal glow up, right? So in July 2024, I decided to start therapy. I had been talking about it for a long time. I grew up with a lot of respect about therapy. I believe we did family therapy as kids, like when we were grieving my grandma. And I think we did family therapy with the blendedness when my mom was married. So like, I've always been very aware of therapy, always respected therapy. So, and we did premarital counseling for my marriage. So like, therapy was just like a no-brainer, but I never felt like needing it as an adult by myself per se. Until July. And I'm telling y'all, best decision I ever made. So at the time of wanting to or deciding to want to find a therapist, I was digging deep, like, what is going on to make me feel like I needed somebody else to talk to? Like, I couldn't talk to my mom. I couldn't talk to my friend. And it's not that I couldn't, but I needed some help working through some things in a way that I don't think anybody in my village, not that they couldn't be supportive, like they all are super supportive. I love them. They've helped me through a lot, but I needed a professional. Okay. Not only was it a lot of other things going on around me, but like I kind of said in the previous video, I started reflecting like, yes, there are things around me and people around me that weren't serving me, but it also was, what was my role in it? How could I have done better? How could I have improved? How could I have seen signs, or, you know what I'm saying? So I had to reflect on, why did I feel like I needed therapy? And I didn't want to go to therapy because I hit rock bottom or like I was spiraling or something like that, or I was having like a mental breakdown. It was honestly like almost like unintentionally, it was like maybe God, maybe my conscious self could see ahead. Like, girl, let's work this out before all the stuff happens. Because the timing was everything, okay? I didn't feel like nothing was wrong with me in that way. Again, it was things that I wanted to self-improve and understand, like, why am I like this? Why do I do things like this? Why do I react like this? Why do I treat people like this? Or y'all get what I'm saying. You got to identify why. But when I realized, as I started doing therapy, was unintentionally I was trying to heal before major life changes occurred, or before I made decisions for life changes to occur. Y'all feel me? Okay. So this also is when I realized why I felt like I needed therapy, and to understand, like, just my mentality was, I was tired of being strong. I was tired of being the strong friend, which I still am, which I don't mind. Okay, see, that's that people pleasing. See, I was about to make an excuse. See, I was tired of holding things together, like always acting like everything was perfect. I had it all figured out. And then again, I was just tired of surviving and being in survival mode. And I just needed ways and tools to be able to work through and talk through why I was doing that. Y'all, now what I didn't know was how much change was about to come from me going to therapy. What? Let me tell you something. First of all, it was immediate for me to recognize things, just saying certain things out loud to this stranger who now has become more than a stranger, obviously. But what? And I keep repeating this, but it's true. Like me starting therapy in 2024 before life started changing in 2025 really prepared me. And I think that's why I've been able to emotionally recognize different feelings through these seasons of change. You get what I'm saying? But boy, when I say I didn't realize how much I was going to change, and when I say change, again, I use the word growth because I just recognize things. I was like, whoa, I don't like that about me. I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to allow that to happen. So, but woo, child, when you see the lens of your childhood, people around you, toxicity, you will never be the same when it comes to your mental health, ever. Okay? Therapy didn't prevent going through hard season. It doesn't prevent them from happening. They're still going to happen. But it prepared me. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. I'm telling y'all, God was preparing me in 2024 and half of 2025 for what was going to happen in 2025. And really, I saw it already in so many ways. The job thing, the relationship, I saw the distancing of some people. Like I saw it already. Yeah. So I feel like therapy prepared me for all of the change that has occurred. So what has therapy done for me, right? Is given me language to be able to express my emotions. It also taught me to be able to sit with my emotions because I am a person that likes to live in like joy and happiness, which is a good thing, right? But you have to acknowledge when you're feeling ways and things. And so ever since I started therapy, I've done a much better job if somebody's bothering me or if my emotions are up or down or whatever. And that's why I say one of the things we are going to implement in our daily routine is acknowledging how you feel each day, like checking in with yourself. So that's something that I learned. Therapy has also helped me recognize patterns that I was doing in my life, things that I was allowing and repeating and not even recognizing it in so many ways, because you can repeat the same patterns in different types of relationships in your life, right? Like if you don't set boundaries, you probably don't set them at work, in relationships, in friendships. Shoot, even when you're dealing with like a car salesman, you get what I'm saying? So I feel like you may recognize some patterns but think it's only in a romantic way or it's only with a friend. But really, a lot of times our patterns repeat themselves in different ways in our lives. So I definitely recognize my patterns of, like I said, people pleasing. And I know we use all these terms, but I think it's a blessing that our generation is more aware of mental health, and we can acknowledge and articulate how we feeling or what we going through, or be able to say like, oh, the people pleasing and boundaries and all. I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy that we can actually like put a name to it. And because I feel like oftentimes, like back in the day, people would just call people crazy. You get what I'm saying? Like everybody ain't crazy. And what is crazy? Y'all get what I'm saying? Okay, so when life started shifting, my marriage, my career, my relationship with my mom, my relationship with my kids, I wasn't empty handed. No, no, no. I was prepared. And how was I prepared? Again, I had the tools, I had awareness, and I had support by my therapist, who I took time to, I guess you can say, consult or like, yeah, we did like a consultation to get to know her, to figure out if she was aligned. I knew I wanted a woman. I assumed I would necessarily want a black woman, and I did reach out to a few black women, and it just didn't connect quite. That she's a great fit for me, and I love the type of rapport and communication and the openness that she allows me to have. Okay, I want to pause here for a second because I feel like there could be somebody that's watching this that may be like, man, that sounds like some stuff I'm going through. I can use the support. I can use some awareness. I can use some tools, and that's okay. this is a space for you to recognize some of the things that you also might want to work on. That's why I say me doing this series isn't just for me to become, it's for us to become, right? If you're considering therapy, it does not have to be perfect. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. I think that the first way to think of it is you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have the perfect words. You don't even have to know what to say because they gonna know what they need to say to get it out of you. It don't even matter. It's gonna happen, right? And I think the first place to start is to start asking yourself some questions. That's what I did. So here's some questions I think you can ask yourself to determine, do I need a mentor, a therapist, a counselor? I know people call them different things. Some people use relationship coach. Any of those things. Here are the questions. Okay, do I want somebody to help me process my emotions? Okay, do I want somebody to help me set boundaries? Do I recognize that I may have childhood trauma? And a major one for a lot of women is, do I feel overwhelmed? If you maybe say yes to a lot of these things or kind of have like touched on some of these subjects, then you might want to look into a therapist. A great way to start, of course, check out your insurance. If there's like a directory, another one is Psychology Today. That's a good directory. This is not sponsored, but I think we all need to recognize our mental health in whatever capacity or way that we can. There's also group therapy. I just think taking a second to recognize that you may need therapy, and it doesn't have to be long term. This was a conversation that I had with a friend. Like, I definitely decided to take a pause. Around the holidays, just because I wanted to process all of the over a year and a half that I had been in therapy. Like, I was like, okay, I need to be able to use these tools and manage without being like, oh my God, I'm going to talk to her on Friday, so I'll be okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great feeling, but it's also like, I didn't want to be dependent on that. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm at a space, because I do feel very confident with the tools, that I want to use her like quarterly, you know what I mean? As needed kind of thing. So that's just my little do-dum. Okay, let's get back. Oh, and real quick, based off the therapist part of it, like, listen, just like anything else in your life, you should do consultations, right? So try a few, maybe do 2 or 3 to see which one you like. And listen, if the first one you do your first like maybe 15-minute call and you don't catch a vibe, that's okay. That doesn't mean it's not going to work. It doesn't mean therapy isn't for you. That therapist wasn't for you. So I encourage y'all to try a few before you completely like, give it up. All right, let's get back to healing. Healing didn't show up loudly for me at first. It didn't. It was very quiet. It was very much like I was recognizing like little things about myself, like each session with her, because I was doing every other week. So like at first it was just like, okay, you giving me titles, you're giving me things that I understand like I need to work on or recognize. But it was like, but what am I feeling? When I started detaching, when I started the actual work of setting the boundaries and like articulating better, like it crazy. And so, but again, it wasn't loud. I wouldn't even say that I recognized that I was in the process of healing until summer of 2025. So a year into therapy is when I started recognizing like, I feel better. I feel good. Like, it's working. You get what I'm saying? And the way I stopped reacting the way I used to, the way I started resting without guilt, the way I stopped cooking and DoorDash sometimes, because y'all know I still love to cook, the way I just poured into myself in a different way so I can pour into others better, that's when I know that's the real becoming. That's the real glow up. Okay? And that was the moment I was like, it's working. Therapy also showed up, and me healing showed up in my appearance. So I will say, many people could probably agree. I mean, I also did put more effort into my skincare, but it's a natural glow happening and a little bit of weight loss, right? So, but the reality is, your outside appearance is not the sole result of healing. More than how I looked, it was about how I was starting to feel safe and feel heard. But heard because I was able to get things out that I never even thought about talking about before. Therapy also taught me that healing isn't or doesn't have to be dramatic, right? It could just be steady. It could just be chill. It could also be gentle and soft. And therapy is very personal, okay? Like, what? You gonna say some things, talk about some things, cry a lot, but it's okay. It's okay. And I had to learn that. Like, I think my very first Zoom, I cried. Like, I'm crying with this lady. She'll know me for Adam and Eve, right? So look, if you're in a quiet season, or right now if things feel slow, or you feel unseen, or even uncomfortable, and sometimes uncomfortable in your own space, that doesn't mean nothing is happening. It doesn't mean that the work ain't working. Sometimes you got to put in a little bit more work for things to, for you to see the results. Some of the most important transformations happen eternally. Because you can get on that treadmill 100 times, and sometimes that will help with your mental clarity, but actually doing the mental health work, what? Y'all, listen to me. I know a little something. I know a little something. So this is me becoming her with intention, with healing, and with grace. Honoring this season because healing is a part of the glow up. See y'all next episode.